Friday night, Justin Herbert played one of the best games I've ever seen him play. However, I still think that it was more because of the Chiefs' defense than Herbert on offense. Justin Herbert was phenomenal on Friday night, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I am a person who thought they weren't gonna win that game. I said some wild stuff now looking back on the preview podcast, but stuff that I believe. Herbert has never won big games like this, and to me, this was the best game he's ever played. I mean, he was on fire, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, incredible passing. He was running, taking off, making every single big play in the game, and for me, that's what matters most, is the win in those big plays. Mahomes kept trying. He kept scoring points, scoring touchdowns, and Herbert was just scoring right with him. It was incredible. And I haven't been a huge Herbert fan in the past, but this game, I mean, it was fun to watch, man. Justin Herbert was out there slinging the pill, slinging the rock. He looked great. That offense, I had to look it up before I recorded to make sure. Yes, they do still have Greg Roman, who is notorious for not throwing the ball. Rich Eisman, now we have our own things. Rich Eisman and Kurt Warner, 2 deadpan guys. That was tough. I'm deadpan myself, I know, but 2 deadpan guys for 3 hours. That was a tough one, and it's they're working for the NFL, so they can't really say sarcastic stuff like I can. But with them being up there, Rich Eisen kept saying, they're throwing the ball again. They're throwing the ball again. He was spamming it. They're throwing the ball again. Oh my God, they're throwing the ball again with Justin Herbert. But they were passing it a lot, especially considering what Roman and Jim Harbaugh's identities are. Now, I personally think that a lot of it was because those guys were wide open all game. Like, Quentin Johnson was running rampant on them. I don't remember the Chiefs defense being that watery. Now, I know 2 years ago they lost L'Jarius Sneed. The scheme was interesting to say the least. Spagnuolo was out there running tight man coverage. But again, that's what he did in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts took advantage. And normally with Spags, the way their whole team plays is they are waiting for a mistake. And one thing Herbert did great last year was not making mistakes in the regular season. And again, all this is tempered with regular season expectations for me, to be completely fair, right? We can't talk about the playoffs yet. It's week 1. But even in this regular season game, I thought that they would lose. This does change some things for me on both these teams, where I see the Chargers, mainly because the Chargers were a team that I kind of thought might miss the playoffs. I mean, after that, you beat the Chiefs. You're up a game on them and in the division. Like, that's huge, especially considering the fact that they didn't get to play at home. They took their home game and made it Brazil, and they ended up winning that game. So kudos to the Chargers. Kudos to Jim Harbaugh. Herbert was amazing. For the Chiefs, I think their defense, I mean, Spags tried to do what he normally does, blitz toward the end, and it worked sometimes. But that 3rd and 14 blitz at the end of the game, that's a terrible call. Terrible call, considering the way Herbert had just been annihilating that. You just got to get a stop, get off the field late, and let Mahomes do it. Now, again, I got to be fair. All that being said, it's all about winning the game, and wins are a QB stat, and Herbert proved it again on Friday by being the best player on the field. He was incredible. And Mahomes started playing great, but Herbert from the beginning was on attack mode, and that's one thing that Herbert does very well. He's very good in the beginning of games normally. It's thrown me toward the end of the game where you'll see kind of those things. But again, toward the end of the game, he was making still smart decisions. They were up by, I think, 2, 3, something. And then he went down, scored a huge touchdown. Like, if they don't score that touchdown, I think that they might have lost the game. Like, if they were to kick a field goal. Because the Chiefs went down, and then they kicked the field goal. But it still kept that distance of 6 points. Whereas I think if the Chiefs are down 5, would they maybe go for it in that situation? I think it's possible. But the fact that they needed 2 scores regardless, they said, let's kick a field goal. And again, ultimately didn't matter because that touchdown set up them needing to get that first down, needing to end the game and clinch it. Now, for the Chiefs and Mahomes, they have issues. Xavier Worthy got knocked out of the game by Travis Kelce and on a mesh route on the first possession of the game. That was crazy. The Chiefs just keep injuring their own players. Obviously, we saw Patrick Mahomes do that last year with Rashee Rice. So having that similar situation happen again with another star player is weird, to say the least. Mahomes was off early. He was trying to throw bombs, but again, they were expecting Worthy to be out there. So now instead, the bombs are going to Royal, and they're going to Hollywood. Really wasn't getting a lot of bomb attempts, but that was the plan. They wanted to do it. He wants to throw these bombs really badly. They talked all offseason about it. He's hearing criticism about it. He has been hearing criticism about it for 2 years. And when they had their chances, he was sailing them, bro. He was not accurate down the field. I'd argue to say he really wasn't really accurate all game. And it was weird. Herbert was better than him, and you can't really say Herbert has much better weapons, which made it even more strange. I do think the Chargers might have a better defense than the Chiefs, just based on what we've seen. They were hitting, physical, they were there. And Mahomes, toward the end of the game, even though he wasn't accurate, he started doing what great quarterbacks do. They figure out how to try to win, and if they got to, they start spamming the run game, especially in the current modern NFL. And again, to Herbert's credit, this is what made him different, was he started doing that stuff, and he did it to clinch the game. Herbert, to me, in the past, was too much of a statue. Mahomes knew, and I think Mahomes just early, those first possessions were just all bad. Now, Worthy did get hurt. That probably changed how they were playing. It's going to be real interesting. It's still week 1. I don't want to overreact. It's the Chiefs. We know they're zombies. They don't die. We know Mahomes is an all-time great. So I don't want to overreact to the game. And they don't have their number 1 receiver, Rashee Rice. He's going to come back in 6 weeks. Xavier Worthy is probably back in 2 to 3 weeks. And I think then we'll see if Mahomes can hit these deep passes. But he was missing those passes. And I don't know how open they were, but he was sailing them. And maybe that was to play it safe, to not throw picks. Cool, but that's just not the Mahomes that we're used to seeing. Jim Harbaugh, the turnaround of this team, of this organization, that is a game my whole life that the Chargers lose. And I'm in a group chat. Shout out Premier. It's my Madden group chat, but they watch football. And in the group chat, they were posting like memes, like Chargers, game day fit, and it was the joke that they have on Twitter where it's cyanide stuff. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, but it was like that, and it was while the Chiefs run was happening, and it felt like, oh my. And I really believe this. This is why that Herbert game is the best game he's ever played to me. If Herbert didn't score or get that first down in the game, let's say if he didn't have a 100% success, not a field goal, if he didn't have a 100% successful drive at any point toward the tail end of that game, I still think they lose. I think despite all those issues, they lose. Because when Mahomes hits that clutch, whatever gene, it's on. And I don't know if this is true or not. I need to look into this, but Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. And remember when Eric Bieniemy went to the Commanders because he couldn't get a head coaching job in the Commanders. I mean, he actually had Sam Howell throw for 4,000 yards, but I digress. Bieniemy, I think Bieniemy is still a great offensive coordinator. That offense hasn't looked the same since I think he was since he left. I think they won one year with Nagy, if I believe. But that was the struggle bus year. And someone made a great point. Nagy, for some reason, always starts these games slow. And it's so weird. Like, it's strange. Like, yes. Can they come from behind and win? Yes. At a certain point, though, that runs out. It just does. We kind of saw it in the Super Bowl happen. And I know I put everything in Eagles lens. Go Birds. But I remember the year where Jalen Hurts was doing it. And Mahomes has done it over a longer stretch, I think, over this past season than Mahomes did it. But there was that time when he was winning every game, every clutch game, pulling it off. We as Eagle fans were worried because it's like, how much longer can you do this? Now, Mahomes is a 3 times champion. Hurts hadn't won one yet. And he does it in the playoffs to the Bills, to the Ravens. Hurts didn't do it that year in the playoffs. They lost in the first round because everything just collapsed. But I do think, I think they're wounded a little bit. I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs yet. I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. Mahomes, Andy Reid, I can't really see them just giving up that many games. But I do think that something's going on. Their defense used to be better. They don't have any receivers, I know. And now, one thing, Mahomes did have time, more time than normal with Josh Simmons at left tackle. That was one thing we were looking at. It looked good. But I don't know, man. You just can't keep playing like that, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And have, I don't know, a great amount of, so it's like you got to get a lead at some points. And I mean, you would prefer some easy wins at some point. I do think that the Chiefs' aura kind of helps with that, like 0-1 score game. But shout out to Justin Herbert. He had to go out there in Brazil and do it, right? Like, he had to go out there and prove that with that lead, with Mahomes running him down, literally, that he could hold on, win that game, and not just hold on, but excel to continue to put points on the board. And they did it. It was an impressive win for the Chargers. They look like a really, really good team. In fact, one of the biggest plays of the game was Amarian Hampton running out of bounds. When they had it, they would have been up 10 at halftime. Then, of course, they don't. Then, of course, Mahomes gets a field goal, even though I'm saying he didn't hit deep pass. He had a beautiful 50-yarder. They get a field goal. And then suddenly it's a game. Because the Chargers had the ball at halftime, and I think they went down. I think they got stopped, but either way, I think they got a field goal. I think they got a field goal on that drive. But it was an impressive game. And this division, we'll see what the Raiders do with the Patriots, but this division could be really crazy. And we'll see, man. I think the Chiefs got to get off to some faster starts. But Herbert, amazing game, great game. I was wrong. I'm upset. Me versus Tony El Tigre. He is now 1-0 as we walk into this Sunday of fun. But thank you guys so much for listening, for enjoying. Sayonara.